Hello, this is archery vlog number 9 in this series of archery vlogs. I was deciding today while I was firing arrows at my hay bale here, which is what you're on top of, that I should probably give you guys a clearer idea of what I mean about some of the things that I was talking about. The last lesson that I learned over the course of my shooting was the locking of the elbow for the straight shot, so that when I'm drawing back, my elbow is straight. There are several tips that I've been given that I wanted to pass along to anybody who happens to be watching this that wants to learn a little bit about archery, so that as you work towards your progression, you know, you'll start to implement these if you are doing the same things that I'm doing. The very first thing that was said to me along these suggestions and hints that I'm going to pass along to you has to do with fingers, specifically with the middle finger. Now, when you're drawing back the bow, there are two different ways that you can draw. Okay, the first being the 3-under technique, which is 3 fingers underneath the string, drawing back the bow. Okay, this is good for people that are doing specifically targeting down the arrow, because when you draw, you can pull up to your face and look right down the arrow. See, I'll show you from this perspective. Here's the front. Now watch where I go. You see how the arrow comes right down below my eye. That's the 3-under method. The way that I shoot, and the other way, is called the split technique, or split method, which is 2 under, 1 over, which looks like this. 1 finger over the nock, 2 below it, and drawing back. Now this way is good for more, I think, is good for more instinctive shooting, where you're looking at the target, you're not looking at where the arrow is going, or you're not looking at the arrow, you're looking at where the arrow is going. So from the front, it would look like this. You're going to notice the position's a little bit different, where you can see that it's not directly under my eye, excuse me, but it's next to it. Now here's the thing that I wanted to bring to your attention about this. While doing that, while doing the split finger, my index finger would always get hurt, because you're supposed to knock the string, you'll see, on the first crease of your fingers. That's where the knock, or where the string should be held so that you can pull it. Now, when I was pulling, I was putting a lot more weight on the index finger than I was on any of the other ones. So over time, even through this thick leather, it was still causing me pain. What I was told to do was to use the middle finger as the one who's pulling more of the, putting more weight on the middle finger to pull the string. So instead of pulling with the top, you start the pressure on the middle and draw back. Save yourself a lot of time and just sort of get used to doing that. What I've done to try and remind myself to do that is just to put a little extra pressure on the middle finger before I start pulling, so that when I am pulling back, it's the one that's taking the primary weight. So you pull back, you just push back a little bit with the middle, and then pull back. Just like that. Now, the second tip that I was talking about that I had learned yesterday that I wanted to pass is specifically about the elbow. What I was told when I was instructed the very first time is lock your elbow. You're supposed to lock your elbow. And that didn't make any goddamn sense to me, because locking my elbow it was uncomfortable. It didn't feel right. It felt like I was doing something extra, and I'm more paying attention to what my body's doing than what I'm aiming at, which is going to cause all kinds of problems. So instead, I was just doing what I normally do, until the other day when I had done the pull. I had drawn the bow, pulled back, and then I noticed my elbow was starting to get into this position where it's like it's locked. And that's exactly what he was talking about. When I pull back and I go and I have my knock, or I have my anchor point, so if I'm drawing and I've got my anchor point, when I look back, my elbow is where it should be, which is right there. So I anchor my thumb next right here. This is my anchor point, at least it is right now. My anchor point's here, and while doing that, my arm goes about this far back, and that's what it should look like every time that I'm drawing the bow. So every time I knock an arrow, I draw it back, that's exactly what my elbow should be doing. Now, I'm still working on not pulling it too far back, and I'm trying to keep it even. But that was what I wanted to bring to your attention, just to show you what I was talking about, because when I said, you know, having your elbow straight, by drawing the string back, getting into position, and having my elbow be where it's supposed to be. Now you can see, I'm still a little high. And I'm discovering that those shots that I'm taking are going a little bit off of what I'm aiming for. Little is relative. I guess if you were a better archer than I am, then you would say it's a lot off. But for me, it's a little off. You know, it's not too crazy. But yeah, so those are the two things that I wanted to make sure to pass along to you guys. Remember, if you are going to draw, I think even with the 3-under, you want to put the most of the pressure on the middle finger, so that when you're pulling back, that's the finger that's taking the most of the weight. That's the finger that's taking most of the weight, the middle finger. And also, as you're drawing back, let me get into a better position so you guys can see it. You want to make sure your elbow is locked and in place. Because the straighter your elbow is, the straighter your shot is going to be. Okay, well that was all. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to see what I was doing and demonstrate it through an actual drawing of the bow rather than talking about it and fiddling. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not an expert in any means, but I'm more than happy to answer whatever I do know to try and help you along your path. Alrighty, I guess I will talk to you later. Take it easy.